Okay. Yeah, of course, you're right. It wouldn't be just for fun in our case. Are you sure it's okay to let everyone know? We told our close friends, of course, but I was really pretty sure no one else knew it yet. Ah, I see. Nevertheless, the headmistress hadn't put an extra pressure on me. Chairwoman had probably covered for me there, thanks to Rice's assistance. Right, what did the headmistress say? Risco smiled vaguely, but didn't answer. Yet the way it was obvious enough that she wasn't happy about our relationship. What about Konomi? Having seen as much as Risco as I had, I could believe that. Just kissing isn't enough. I guess. I turned my body around in my seat to try to close Risco tightly into my arms. Risco? Husband over and over again, each time fresh joy welled up inside of me. Risco pawed at my chest, pressing harder and harder. We gnawed at each other's lips hungrily, but as far as we gone, we hadn't moved on to. I'm not even gonna read that. I'm already smiling, and my cheeks are hurting to begin with. Not to mention, rapid dehydration sucks. She moved her arms around to my back and drawing her body even closer to mine. Each meeting of our lips sparked a new flame inside of me. Risco seemed to feel the same way. I could feel her body heat through her clothes. Her face flushed brightly, the pink filling her porcelain white cheeks was truly beautiful. I was thinking the same thing, but I think it's okay. It's not like we're doing anything wrong. It's natural to desire the person that you love. God would forgive that too, I think. Risco nodded to herself several times. What? She finally pulled away from me and smiled happily. Me too. Sure. I can't stop it. Friday night, I found the rosary shoved far back in my desk drawer. The closing ceremony of Chanty Noel were tomorrow. I never thought I would get any use out of this thing. When I was sure the school hadn't expected it when they gave it to me either. Risco mentioned that everyone receives only one rosary from the school. In other words, if you lost it, you couldn't get a replacement. We were still keeping our relationship secret, waiting for Tem's deconfession. Thought it would be best to make it a surprise. People learning about it for the first time there would probably hit the roof with shock. I really couldn't wait. Her school title was still, after all, Belle Epine, Beautiful Briar Rose. Mitsuki had said that it was hard for her to imagine her ever getting together with a boy. Most others probably felt the same. Nevertheless, Risco was officially dating me. The others will probably jump out of their skins. But then there's what Rai said too. When I told her we were participating in Tempsty Confessions, she said, why? She was surprisingly disapproving. Risco and I looked at her in confusion. So what's the problem? Rise looks sullen. Defeat. In other words, just like at the athletic festival. To be honest, I never even thought about that, but Rise was definitely right. Briscoe apparently hadn't thought about that either. She looked at me hesitantly. Yeah. Uh-oh. This was going to put the Lily Society even further behind, but we didn't really have a choice. I told her school that I wanted her to give her all for the Red Society. I couldn't change my mind for this. Things would unfold as they may. It was better for Risco and me to enjoy our happiness rather than focus on our internal conflict. It was the last day of second term. We didn't have classes, just homeroom, followed by the closing ceremony. Closing ceremony ended and winter vacation began. Students were free to go home if they wanted, but almost all of them stayed at the school. Reason was obviously chanting Noel. It started at 6 o'clock, so I had plenty of time. Sure. We sat eating Rico's homemade bread and sipping from the fragrant cups I had acquired. Quite a taste for black tea since coming to Vesna's. Rise down her cup and let out a sigh. Right, but election campaign, what have we been doing all this time with the festival then? I see. The last edition betrayed a bit of anxiety uncharacteristic of Rise. How we're going to interact? That's true. All calls had to go through the school unless you were dealing with family. It was easy to guess that they wouldn't approve of calls to me. Strange letters.
姉さんを見習うことにします。あら、どういうこと？私を見習うだなんて。外に抜け出すわ。おお。本気？はい。本当、人間変われば変わるものね。
That should be obvious.
お堅いことでは有名な律子だったものね。校則を守ることよりも今は大事なことがあるから。
As she spoke, she smiled at me gently. Where are you all doing for winter vacation? Going home, I guess? They all nodded in response to my question. I see. I don't have any home to go to. No, it's okay. It's nicer in the dorms anyway. I'm still in touch with my mom. Oh yeah, you know I will. The others looked at us coldly. In contrast, Risco's face was flushed red. At last, the time for chanting Noel rolled around. There was already a lively atmosphere in the hallway. I loved that feeling. It was almost like a festival. Good evening. Yeah, it's right here. I held it up my right hand. The strings of beads was around my wrist. Sure. We walked side by side. The other girls watched us suspiciously. We cleared away their doubts soon enough. I couldn't wait to see it. By the way, you're not a Christian, right, Risco? Evangile. Actually, the English translation will be Bible, but that's right. You used to carry that book around a lot. I haven't seen it much lately, though. The reason Risco needed peace of mind because of the trying destiny that awaited her, but now she had no intention of accepting that destiny. Oh, that's right. You think that's why she's so passionate about Vesnas? This place was originally affiliated with a mission, right? The school's original founders were French missionaries who came to Japan in the Meiji period. What do you mean? Yeah. I nodded and remembered it quite well. What do you mean? Risco smiled in amusement. The cathedral, usually abandoned, was now packed with people. We each took a candle at the entrance and proceeded into the illuminated hall. We took seats side by side in the back row. Chanty Noel was paced around and asked so the nuns delivered sermons as clergy and read from the Gospels. Although they didn't usually sing this much, the choir sang during the breaks in the sermon. Then at last the ceremony came to an end. The Bacon Club walked around distributing thin wafers known as the crucifix. I can't do pronunciations well. Thanks. Is this stuff edible? See, you're right, stale. Ah, that's right. I remember a scene like that from the Bible. I never held a Bible before coming to business, but I had learned quite a lot about it from classes. Bread is the body and wine is the blood, right? The chorus ended in the choir competition between the Red Rose and White Lily Society began. After the close of the song was sung, the mass came to an end. But even though the mass was over, almost all the students stayed. After all, the real event, chanting Noel, was just getting started. Right. Risco was surprisingly aggressive today. Pulled me by the hand and led me to the altar. The large cathedral was immediately thrown into a tumult of whispering. What is that? No way. We heard the voices all around us. Marika stood before the altar serving as hostess, but even she was surprised to see us there. Yes. We both spoke up in unison. We were raising our hands with our rosaries when we turned in shock at the sudden interruption. The headmistress glared at us, her visage demon-like. We were so shocked that neither of us could speak at first, so Marika asked her instead. Yeah, your word doesn't mean shit here. Her voice was soft, but she clearly meant to give no quarter, even to the headmistress. I looked into the face of the headmistress, the face of my girlfriend's mother. There was anguish in the woman's face. Anger, suffering, distorted her expression terribly. What? Here's something. Only you think that. Only you. I shook my head. I can't. You may say I'm defiling it, but that's not why we came here. Risco wanted to give me her rosary, and I want to give her mine. If the two of us feel the same way, there should be no problem. Her voice was unusually weak. There was none of the forcefulness of her on her earlier enraged shout. Plus, I don't think she knows how memories work either. Memory. She said something like that before. It was a strange line coming out of the mouth of a teacher. Headmistress had attended Vesnas when she was younger, though, from the Perspective, maybe it wasn't so unusual. Briscoe walked up to the headmistress to whisper something into her ear. The headmistress' shoulders slumped. She was quite young looking for being a mother of two, yet she seemed to age in an instant. She turned her back to us for a moment. I thought she had accepted it, but... Yeah. Hold up. Right hand. I gave my rosary to her and she gave hers to me. The ashed beads felt slightly warm to the touch. Rika began to clap. Then the entire cathedral erupted into thunderous applause. She could hear the sound of applause from the cathedral. It was clear that the students were celebrating the mixed-gender couple. It was enough to drive her mad. Why was there a boy of Esnes? At Tempsty Confession, she had exchanged rosary with her beloved Onisama, the one that all girls in school pinned after. She was the one that she had chosen. And now, her most precious memory had been defiled. She could not forgive it. The cathedral was perfectly quiet. The clamor from above had faded like a dream. The stifling heat, too, was gone without a trace. Yeah. When she put it that way, I almost felt bad for the headmistress. Stop defiling my memory. She had sounded almost heartbroken. Of course, we couldn't exactly have just left either. Even under normal circumstances, the headmistress was the most staunch of the traditionalists, and she hated me. On top of that, I was dating her daughter. To put it bluntly, I had more than earned her ire. There's nothing scarier than people, after all. Coming from the world I did, I had a lot of experience with that. Oh, nothing. I drove the thought out of my mind, worrying about the headmistress wouldn't accomplish anything. I guess you're right, though. Your mother was young once, too. I guess she has to respect us a little for that. Alright. Right. I wasn't sure how it would turn out, but all I could do was hope for the best. Briscoe pulled the rosary out of her pocket and gazed at it spellbound. Yeah. What did they say afterwards? And... wow. I don't need to know, as long as I got you, Briscoe. With that howery old line, I put my arm around her shoulder and drew her to me. I think this is going to be a short session because it's really getting late. I felt her hot breath against my ear and sent a chill up my spine. Yeah. I can't stop it. When Winter vacation had begun. Naturally, almost all the students were going home for New Year's. The building would probably be nearly empty by noon. I finished washing my face and I was about to head to the dining hall when there was a knock at the door. Come in. Oh, Risco, good morning. Risco was carrying a large trunk with her. Thanks, but are you going to be okay? I mean, there's still people here, right? Oh, that's right. That meant there was no need for us to continue our evening rendezvous in the cathedral at night. I looked down at the trunk at Risco's feet. It was definitely large. I thought your house was in Shurika Gaiko, Risco. That's a lot of luggage for such a short trip, but I guess the distance doesn't matter, huh? Speaking of distance, though, summer camp had been in walking distance, too. She had an awful lot of luggage then, too. A lot of bun? Partially. As always, she treated them as people. Who's that again? I asked her plainly. Oh yeah, it was the stuffed animal I won at the summer festival. I had honestly forgotten about it. I see. She gave me a lucky kiss, then pulled away immediately. Right, have a good trip. It was the best breakfast I could ask for. Our character, I swear. Risco's first visit was 3 days later. I was doing my homework. Just like summer vacations, business had given the student a pile of homework for their long time off. I knew I had to do it or I'd get in trouble later, and of course I had free time. With almost no one else in the dorm to talk to, I was left with homework to kill time. It's pretty lonely being by yourself in a building that's usually full of people. For instance, the school building after class, the fact that it was usually full of laughing voices made it especially lonely when you were alone there. Of course, all of the dorm rooms were private, so in a way I was always alone. But I could still feel the presence of others nearby. I guess that's why people always go home, for those that have a home to go back to. Just when I was thinking that, it happened. A faint knock at my window and jumped to my feet. What? For a moment I thought it might have been a ghost, but that was a ridiculous thought. Whoa, I never would have thought it would be Risco. I opened the window quickly. Why did you come in through the window? Was the front door locked? Right, yeah, I was surprised. Yeah. Seemed Risco had a real playful side. Or maybe I just brought it out of her. Homework. Well, I had time to kill. You want some tea? I cleaned up my study materials and brought 2 steaming cups to the table. As I brought back from the kitchen, I found Risco looking around the room in wonder. No, it's fine. You might be right. Risco had been there when Marika came earlier, but that was a more chaotic scene. It was our first time just hanging out together here. I didn't have many before I came. Yeah, of course.
失礼して。
She moved her cushions so that we could sit next to me properly.
たったの3日間が随分長く思いました。
Yes, since we saw each other every day during school. Everyone disappeared so suddenly. I felt pretty lonely.
ひっそりとしていますものね。去年までは休みの間ずっと帰省していたので、私も初めて知りました。
And I should end it here. Well, anyways, like I said, I'm going to bring this session to a close because it's getting really late. And plus, I don't want to bug my neighbor, who is, because I live in a basement apartment, and also I'm next to a wall of my other. I have two neighbors right there, so I can't really bug them. Anyway, this is the Anime Alley signing off. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, do whatever you guys feel like doing, and have fun.